And I think we're good. Okay, so good evening, Internet. Welcome to our little show. Live Long and Podcast is pleased to present to you today our 11th edition of Star Trek Radio Theater. On this show, our podcasters we reenact Star Trek episodes through script reads from various series, and many of us are going to be playing different characters within. Tonight, we're doing an episode from Deep Space Nine's third season, known as Defiant, which is the battleship that gets brought into that show in the third season. And this has a guest starring appearance by Jonathan Frakes. It was the same year as Star Trek Generations. So it was, and about the same month that movie was coming out. So it was a bit of a crossover promotion with that. This episode is written by Ronald D. Moore, and it is script edited by Kevin and Ashley Millard. And we're going to be jumping in right now, and I will introduce the whole cast and everything after. But we hope you like it. So with no further ado, let's get going. All right, and I'm going to take myself off screen. And cue the show.
Fade in. We focus on ops. Kira is sitting at the ops table listening to O'Brien and Dax. We can tell by the look on Kira's face that this is the beginning of a very long and very bad day.
Kira, we've got 6x-Zadium transports coming in this afternoon. I've got to have more cargo space.
All right! Have them offloaded to cargo base 3 and 4. But that's it. We are pushing our storage capacity as it is.
That reminds me, we've got a message last night saying the Bisalians want to move up their conference by a week. Kira picks up a pad in frustration and exhaustion.
Huh! I haven't had a chance to read through last night's reports. Is there anything I should know?
Dax and O'Brien exchange a glance. Kira's not going to like this. Well,
What?
Starfleet wants a complete report done on our computer calibration subroutine.
The whole subroutine? When?
Tomorrow. We focus on the infirmary. Bashir is talking to Kira, who's just about at the end of her rope. Major, the scheduled transport's been delayed and I need those medical supplies by the end of the week.
We can't spare a runabout to go all the way to Vulcan right now.
I'm supposed to set up a field hospital for the new colony on Campor 3 next week. If I don't get those medical supplies, the entire colonization schedule could be set by at least. Kira finally boils over and cuts loose on Bashir.
Listen to me! You can't have a runabout! You can't get your medical supplies! And I don't give a damn about the colonization schedule! Those colonists can make do with a box of bandages for all I care.
Kira turns and begins to storm out of the room when Bashir stops her cold by the low and deadly serious tone of his voice. Stop right there, Major. When was your last day off?
I don't know. What does that have to do with anything?
If you can't remember, then it's been too long. You're off duty as of this moment.
What do you mean, I'm off duty? You can't do that.
Oh, yes, I can. And not even Commander Sisko can overrule my judgment as Chief Medical Officer.
Now wait a minute, Julian! Just because I snapped!
My diagnosis is that you're overworked and suffering from extreme stress and borderline exhaustion. As for my prescription, follow me. He heads for the door. Kira hesitates, then exits with him. We focus on Quarks. Kira is sitting at a table. Quark is putting things on the table in front of her as Bashir looks on.
Carvino juice, Lorvan crackers, a hollow sweet program, a Jumja stick, and gambling tokens.
Now, at least 2 of these items must be used and fully enjoyed before you can leave this facility.
Julian,
I'll be giving you a full report of her activities, Doctor.
If I hear you don't completely relax and enjoy yourself tonight, we'll do this every night until you do. Have fun. Bashir leaves. Kira smiles and takes a sip of her juice. Then a familiar voice comes out of the blue, or beard.
Looks like you've got your evening all planned. Hope you've got room for the unexpected.
Kira turns and sees Commander William Riker looking down at her.
Okay.
We focus on Commander's office. Sisko and Riker are just shaking hands.
Welcome aboard, Commander.
Thank you. Call me Will.
Sisko gestures to a chair and they sit.
What brings you to Deep Space Nine?
Strictly pleasure. Actually, I've built up about 3 months of leave, and Dr. Crusher finally insisted that I take some of it. She nearly shoved me out of the airlock.
DS9 isn't exactly known as a vacation spa.
Actually, I was just passing through my way to Rissa. The last time I was here, I was only able to spend a couple hours at Quark's, but by the time I left, I had all of his latinum and a date with one of his Dabo girls, so I thought I might try my luck again.
You be careful. Quark's double wheel has been a little stingy recently, and one of his double girls is dating my son.
In that case, maybe I better spend my time in the holosuites. Sounds safer all the way around.
We focus on Ops. Kira is working at a console, but she keeps glancing over at the commander's office where Riker and Sisko are still talking. Dax comes over to her.
Who's in there?
what?
Who's in with Benjamin?
Oh, it's Will! Commander Will Riker from the Enterprise!
Dax smiles at the name. Evidently, Game recognizes Game.
Will Riker.
You know him?
Yeah, I met him about a year ago at Quark's. He's quite the Dabo player. Do you know him?
Yes, a little. I met him at Quark's last night.
Kira focuses on the console in front of her. Dax picks up on the subtext and presses a little. Did Kira experience the Riker maneuver?
You met him last night and
We talked.
then
And then we talked for 3 hours. No, we just talked. And yes, he's a warm, charming man, and I'm involved with someone.
of course. So why do you keep glancing back at Sisko's office?
Kira has no real answer for that. Suddenly, the doors to Sisko's office open, and Riker and Sisko enter Ops.
You can find the time. You have an open invitation for dinner with me and Jake.
Thank you. I may take you up on that.
Dax moves to Riker and greets him warmly.
I hope you're not here for another loan.
Riker gives her a blank look. He has no idea what she's talking about. Dax smiles at him.
Don't tell me you've forgotten who staked you 3 strips of latinum when your winning streak ran dry.
I'm sorry, of course. Most of that night's still a blur. How you been, Dax?
Fine.
Riker's eye wanders to Kira, who has stayed at her console.
Well, I'd better get out of your way. I know you've all got work to do. I hope to see you again, Major.
Commander?
We focus on the promenade. Kira is walking along the promenade. Riker is just coming out of one of the shops and nearly runs right into Kira.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
My mind was a million light years away. I should have been paying attention to where I was going.
Are you doing some shopping?
Actually, I was just exploring the promenade. I thought about going into Quark's, but I wasn't really in the mood. Where are you off to?
I'm just getting off duty. I was about to call it a night.
I see. Well, good night.
Good night.
Riker holds her gaze and then begins to walk off. Kira hesitates, then stops him.
Commander, would you like a tour of the station?
I'd love one. Where should we begin?
Well, we can walk along the promenade. For a start, there's quite a bit to see here.
Do you think we might get a chance to take a look at that new starship of yours? What's she called?
The Defiant!
Yeah, the Defiant. I hear it's quite a vessel.
Well, I'm sure that can be arranged.
Oh, my script just went away. We focus on the airlock. An armed security guard is stationed outside the airlock. A computer terminal is nearby. Kira and Riker approach. Kira taps some commands into the computer terminal.
Please identify to access to USS Defiant.
Kira puts her hand on a computer panel, which lights up.
Major Kira Nerys, Bajoran Militia.
Identity confirmed.
Riker steps up, puts his hand on the same panel.
Commander William Riker, Starfleet.
Identity confirmed.
The airlock opens. Kira and Riker exit into the airlock. We focus on the Defiant Bridge. The Defiant Bridge is mostly dark. Only one or two consoles are lit. Kira and Riker enter and see Chief O'Brien laying under a console with his head inside the open panel. Kira is a little surprised, but the look on Riker's face says he's not very happy about this particular surprise.
Chief, I didn't know there was anyone aboard tonight.
Oh, I hadn't planned to. I was just getting a little extra work done on the deflector targeting arrays. O'Brien takes his head out of the panel and sees Riker. He begins to stand up with a broad smile on his face, but instead of a warm greeting, Riker gives him his coldest and harshest look. Commander, I heard you were aboard, but I hadn't...
I have nothing to say to you, O'Brien. I think you know why.
Riker glares at him, and O'Brien is too shocked to say anything in response. There's an awkward silence.
Oh, maybe we should come back another time.
No, Major. It's all right. I was just leaving, Commander. O'Brien leaves.
What was that all about?
It's a long story. I'd rather not get into it. Let's take a look at this ship of yours.
Kira is still a little disturbed by the Riker-O'Brien tension, but she puts it aside and begins to show Riker around.
Okay. I'll show you the tactical systems first. I think you're going to be surprised at how big a punch this little ship has.
We focus on the airlock. O'Brien is coming out of the airlock with a disturbed look on his face. He stops just outside the airlock door, frowns to himself, almost goes back, and then decides the hell with it and walks off. We focus on the Defiant Bridge. Riker and Kira are standing at one of the consoles. Kira is showing him a complex schematic diagram.
Running the plasma conduit through the primary phaser coupling has almost doubled your phaser power. Doesn't that cut into your warp drive efficiency?
Not at all! In fact, it's 30% more efficient!
That's ingenious. I'd like to see how it's all routed through the tactical display.
Command authorization required.
New security procedure. Computer. Release bridge lockout. Authorization, Kira Delta 547 Alpha.
The computer works and the bridge lights up. All the consoles are now active.
Thank you.
Riker pulls out a small hand phaser and stuns Kira with it. She falls to the floor. Riker heads across the bridge and moves to one of the other consoles and begins working it. After a beat, a man and a woman, Kalita and Tamal, materialize on the bridge. We focus on Ops. Dax is working at a console when suddenly alarms go off and the station goes to red alert. Sisko comes rushing out of his office.
What's going on?
I'm not sure, but something's happened to the warp core on the Defiant. It looks like it's going to breach in 57 seconds.
Anyone on board?
O'Brien was working there this morning, but I don't know if he... Incoming signal from the Defiant. It's Commander Riker.
On screen.
Commander Sisko, there's been an accident. One of the plasma conduits has exploded. Major Kira's been injured. We are 45 seconds from a core breach. Release the docking clamps. I will get us away from the station.
Sisko nods to Dax and she works.
We'll beam the two of you away as soon as you're clear.
Docking clamps released.
I'm engaging thrusters.
Riker is still on the view screen working. O'Brien enters and rushes to his station.
15 seconds.
Lock on and beam them away, Chief.
I can't get a lock. The Defiant's shields are up.
What?
Defiant goes zoom.
She's gone into warp. I've lost them.
We focus on the Defiant bridge. Kalita is sitting at the helm. Tamal is working at a bulkhead, which is spewing out gas and smoke.
We're beyond their sensor range.
Check course for the Badlands. Warp 7. Tamal. Secure that conduit.
Right.
Course laid in. We'll be in the Badlands in 6 hours.
Tamal works for a moment, and then the gas and smoke stop. Riker moves to sit down in the command chair. Riker begins to pull off the fake sideburns he's been wearing, revealing the face of Thomas Riker.
You did it, Tom.
Arr, it's not over yet.
We focus on the war room. On the monitor is a slew of information and photos of Thomas and Will Riker. Odo is briefing Gul Dukat, who is sitting at the table. Sisko is standing nearby.
9 years ago, a transporter accident created 2 William T. Rikers. One of them returned to his ship. The other was marooned on Nervula 4.
The second Riker was finally discovered 2 years ago. He chose to use his middle name, Thomas, to distinguish himself from the other Riker.
The 2 men are physically identical in all respects, right down to their DNA coding. There was no way for the security computer to know that it was Thomas, not William, who boarded the Defiant. Hee-hee!
This is a very entertaining story, kids, but why am I listening to it?
Odo and Sisko exchange a look. Sisko leans forward. Dukat is not going to like this.
We have reason to believe that Thomas Riker is a member of the Maquis.
What?
Thomas Riker was serving aboard the starship Gandhi. While he was there, he began to express certain political opinions that supported the Maquis and their goals.
Are you telling me that one of the most heavily armed warships in this quadrant is now in the hands of the Maquis terrorists? Do you have any idea what kind of response this will provoke from Central Command, kids?
They will probably want to send ships into the demilitarized zone to conduct a search. We understand that. But any entry into the zone must be a joint operation between Cardassia and the Federation.
The Central Command will not be interested in any joint operation, Commander. They won't believe your story about transporter duplicates and security failures. They will assume that Starfleet wanted the Maquis to have the Defiant, and they will respond accordingly.
And what does that mean exactly?
It means they will seize this opportunity to finally eliminate the Maquis. They'll send a fleet into that zone.
Sisko leans forward, tries to keep things calm and steady.
Starfleet will cooperate in the search for the Defiant, but they will not allow the Central Command to use this as an excuse for a full-scale invasion.
Of course not, kids. So you will send your own fleet into the zone to protect Federation colonies. But at some point, the two fleets will meet, tensions will rise, nerves will fray, and someone will make the tiniest mistake.
And we'll have a war on our hands.
It is a prospect I do not relish, Commander.
Neither do we.
That's why we need to work together to prevent it from happening.
Unless I can bring something back to Central Command to prove your good faith and your willingness to help stop the Defiant, I don't believe anything can prevent this conflict from beginning.
Then bring me with you. I can help you stop the Defiant and prove our good faith. I was in charge of the shipyard where the Defiant was built. I helped design it. I know her vulnerabilities and her weaknesses.
You'll help us destroy one of your own ships?
I want to try and disable it first.
Dukat leans closer and makes his point firmly.
Oh, I'm sure you do. But you're in no position to bargain here, Commander. You want to prevent a war? You come back to Cardassia with me, and you help me destroy the Defiant.
We focus on a cabin. Kira is facing Riker with a look of fury on her face.
I don't care who you are or what your name is.
I'm sorry about lying to you, and I'm sorry about using ya, but it was an operational necessity. You're a resistance fighter. You know at certain times you do things that you're not proud of to accomplish the mission.
Well, you accomplished your mission. So now what? Everyone's going to be looking for you, my pretties. The Cardassians and Starfleet. How far do you think you're going to get with this ship before they find you?
A lot farther than people anticipate.
Kalita to Riker, we've reached the rendezvous point.
I'm on my way.
Riker looks at her for a moment and then exits. We focus on the Defiant bridge. Kalita at helm, Tamal at a side console as Riker enters.
The other Maquis ships just arrived.
The rest of the team's ready.
Lower the shields and beam them aboard.
The Maquis ships are heading for the border, Tom.
All defense systems online and operational. Warp power standing by.
Lay in a course for the Cardassian border. Warp 8.
3 Maquis crew enter the bridge and head for consoles, each of them confident and ready to go.
Course already laid in.
Riker sits down in the command chair and looks around the bridge.
This ship was built to fight. It's time she got her chance. Engage her.
Kalita works and the ship goes to warp.
Commander's log, stardate 48467.3. Gul Dukat and I have arrived on Cardassia Prime. I am about to do something which goes against 20 years of Starfleet training. Help an enemy hunt down one of our own ships.
We focus on the Cardassian war room. The war room is dominated by large screens and monitors which show a bewildering array of tactical displays, ship movements, real-time reports from vessels, strategic information, intelligence reports, etc. Sisko and Dukat enter. Sisko draws a few curious looks from the Cardassian soldiers, but they ignore him for the most part and continue with their work.
This is where I will be conducting the search for the Defiant. Ugh. From this room, I can control every Cardassian ship, outpost, and space station anywhere in our...
Dukat trails off as an unnatural quiet fills the room. A Cardassian woman enters.
Ah, Commander, allow me to introduce Korinas, our observer from the Obsidian Order. Commander Sisko.
Korinas.
Welcome to Cardassia Prime, Commander.
Thank you.
Korinas looks around the room for a moment. Everyone in the war room quickly goes back to work, but Korinas sees something nearby.
Excuse me. Secure that console while the human is here. Anything else classified level 4 or above should also be secured. I'm sure you can understand that although we respect Gul Dukat's decision to bring you here, we must take some precautions.
Of course, I would have done the same. But then I would have been more discreet.
The calm and easy manner in which Sisko parries her thrust causes Korinas to hold his gaze for a moment. She gives him a short, polite smile, then moves on to the business at hand.
Since you are here to provide technical expertise on the Defiant, I suggest you begin by briefing us on the ship's defensive capabilities. Please describe for us in detail the weapon systems of the Defiant, beginning with the ship's phaser array and...
Before we discuss weaponry, there is more urgent matter that I think you should be aware of. The Defiant is equipped with a cloaking device.
Dukat reacts as if Sisko just placed another heavy burden on his shoulders, but Korinas barely reacts at all.
I wondered if you were going to share this little detail with us.
You knew about this?
The Obsidian Order has known for some time about the loan of a cloaking device for the Romulans to the Federation.
And the Order chose not to share this intelligence with Central Command?
Until now, the Order has not considered this one cloak to be a threat against Cardassia.
Under the terms of our agreement with the Romulans, the cloaking device was to be used only in the Gamma Quadrant, and then only in exchange for our intelligence reports on the Dominion.
Well, your Lieutenant Riker isn't likely to respect that agreement with the Romulans. And there's no way to locate a ship under cloak.
There is one possibility. The Dominion managed to penetrate the cloak by using some kind of anti-proton beam.
Can you give us the specifications of that beam?
Not precisely, but I can give you everything we've learned from our sensor logs. It will give you a chance to find the Defiant before she attacks.
We focus on the Defiant bridge. Riker is walking the bridge, visually checking over the consoles. Tamal, Kalita, and the others are at their stations. Kalita reacts to something on her console.
We're approaching the security perimeter, Tom.
All right, this is it. Red alert, cloak the ship, stand by your weapons.
Riker moves to the command chair, and the ship goes to red alert. We focus on the Defiant cabin. Kira is pacing up and down in the room as the ship goes to red alert. She reacts to the alert with frustration. There must be something she can do. She thinks for a beat, then goes to the replicator and begins trying to open the panel. We focus back to the Defiant bridge.
Squadron Baker has arrived at their checkpoint.
Transmit the go-ahead signal.
We'll be in Cardassian sensor range in 5 minutes.
We focus on the Cardassian war room. Sisko and Dukat are looking over a console when a Cardassian soldier suddenly reacts to his console.
There is a perimeter alert in the Omatha sector.
Put it on the main viewer, kids. Who's commanding the outposts nearest that ship?
Gul Ranor of the 6th Order, and he's identified the vessel. It's the Defiant.
Order all warships in that sector to converge on the Defiant, kids.
Something's wrong. Why wouldn't they be cloaked? Can you show me the sensor information on the Defiant?
The soldier looks up at Dukat, who nods agreement. Then the soldier works for a moment and a console screen suddenly displays complex sensor information, which Sisko begins checking over. Korinas takes notes of this exchange, and when Dukat glances up at her, he stiffens slightly at her steady gaze.
The Defiant is attacking Outpost 61.
On the display, the Defiant symbol fires at the outpost, then turns and heads back into the DMZ. The Cardassian warships are chasing it.
Tell Gul to run that he has permission to pursue the Defiant into the demilitarized zone.
No, don't pull your ships off the border.
Commander, you don't expect me to break off pursuit of the Defiant simply because the treaty...
That's not the Defiant. It's a decoy. They're trying to draw your patrol ships out of position. That ship's sending out a fake warp signature identical to the Defiant, but the phase variance and subspace harmonics don't match.
Dukat looks at the information on the console, then glances up at the screen. The Cardassian warships are now deep into the zone, chasing the decoy Defiant.
Order to Red to break off pursuit, kids! Have him redeploy his...
Sir, another preliminary alert. Outpost 47 has detected a cloaked ship with their anti-proton beam.
Tell Torrid to head for Outpost 47, which is after 46, kids!
The Defiant has decloaked and begun to attack another outpost.
On the screen, the Defiant attacks the outpost. The Cardassian warships are heading toward it now, but they're too far away.
We've lost contact with Outpost 47.
There's a long, quiet moment as everyone reacts to this setback.
Incoming message from Gul Ranor. The Defiant has recloaked, and its last known heading was 48 Mark 215.
Oh no, kids! It's headed directly into the heart of Cardassia territory!
Commander Sisko, you should be commended. I only wish we had someone with such keen tactical instincts who could have prevented this invasion of our territory.
She exits, never looking in Dukat's direction. We focus on the Defiant bridge.
We're past the security perimeter, out of their sensor range.
They're using anti-proton beams to scan for us. Adjust the close resonance frequency so they can't detect us again.
Right.
Damage report.
We took 6 hits on the port shields. There's been some minor damage to the outer hull, but all systems are operational.
Tough little ship. Set course for the shipyard at Omekla 3. We'll let that be the place.
Suddenly, the ship is rocked slightly and the lights go out.
Report.
We've lost main power and the cloak is offline.
It looks like 2 plasma conduits blew out.
Where?
Deck 3, Section 15, crew quarters.
Riker reacts to this information. He knows exactly what it means.
Looks like Major Kira's been busy.
We focus on the Defiant cabin. Riker is looking over what's left of the replicator and the bulkhead in Kira's quarters. A large section of the bulkhead has been blown out, leaving a scorched and charred, gaping hole. Kira is sitting on the lower bunk bed, having her arm and shoulder treated by Tamal, who is using a medical device to heal her burns.
You crossed the replicator power converter with the plasma manifold, I take it.
Oh, that's right!
Nice work. You know I'll have that thing bypassed in 30 minutes.
At least that'll be 30 minutes that were visible!
Fortunately, I was able to take us into a nebula. No one's going to see us.
Tamal finishes tending to Kira.
Thanks.
Riker nods to Tamal, who then exits.
You're lucky you only got singed. You know the whole plasma relay could have exploded.
Yes! That was the idea!
You've been fighting the Cardassians most of your life. I know that you sympathize with what we're doing.
I fought the Cardassians because they invaded my home! You don't live in the demilitarized zone. You don't have family there. Why are you even in this fight?
Because people are dying in the demilitarized zone and Starfleet isn't doing anything about it.
Well, taking the Defiant only raises the stakes. The Cardassians are going to send a fleet after you. They are going to kill more people hunting you down than they ever did during those border raids.
You're assuming the Defiant is going to stay in the demilitarized zone. Let's go to the bridge. I think we'd all feel better having you someplace we can keep an eye on you.
We focus on the Cardassian war room. Dukat is sitting at a console, staring at a screen, lost in grim contemplation. Sisko is pacing slowly up and down, studying a pad. The room is quiet, but tense.
15 outposts have checked in. No sign of the Defiant. 26 warships have scanned 14 cubic light years of space with anti-proton beams. No Defiant. What are the possibilities? They are still under cloak and heading deeper into Cardassian space. They're laying low and waiting for some unknown reason. Dukat, are you listening to me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Commander. I was thinking about my son's birthday.
Really?
Yes. Today is his 11th birthday. I'd promised to take him to the amusement center in Lucarian City. He always wanted to go, but I never had the time. I told him this year will be different. This year will be different this year, McCord. This year I will make the time.
Sisko moves closer to him and sits down in a nearby chair.
I've had the same experience with Jake. At that age, they never understand, do they? You just hope that one day they'll look back and say, now I understand. Now I know why he did that.
When my son looks back on this day, the only thing he'll remember is that a Federation officer on a Federation ship invaded his home and kept his father away from him on his 11th birthday. And he won't look back with understanding. He'll look back with hatred, kids. And that's sad.
Dukat gets up and moves away, leaving Sisko to think about the implications for the future. We focus on the Defiant bridge. The lighting is now dark, indicating that the cloak is in operation. Riker in command, Kalita at helm, Tamal at the aft cloaking console, Kira sitting back by the ops table watching the proceedings.
The cloak is operating within normal parameters, but the plasma conduit damage has caused a slight neutrino leak in the port nacelle. The Cardassians might be able to detect it even though the cloak.
I chance we have to take. Lay in a course for Omekla 3. Engage at Warp 8.
Warp 8, aye, sir.
Omekla 3? You're headed for the shipyard. There has to be a half a dozen better targets in this sector alone.
I hope the Cardassians have the same reaction. What is he doing and why?
All right. You're trying to keep them off balance. Keep them guessing. Why?
Riker takes a moment, looks at Kira, and then decides to lay it out for her.
The Maquis have been hearing rumors about shifting loyalties in the Cardassian government. Certain hardline elements were unsatisfied with the Federation Treaty and are doing whatever they can to scrap it. We had our hands on an intelligence report outlining a suspected military buildup in the Arias system. A secret buildup that even the Central Command isn't aware of.
You're telling me you did all of this to attack some secret base that you may or may not exist?
I'm convinced that it does. They are building an invasion fleet. If we let them finish it, these renegade Cardassians are going to use it.
You're not really cut out for this, are you? being a terrorist. I mean, you're not very good at it.
Really?
You're acting more like a Starfleet officer who's more interested in intelligent reports and Cardassian politics than in actually hurting Cardassians. You have one of the most powerful ships in the quadrant under your command. Why aren't you out attacking every Cardassian along the border?
Because these stakes are far greater than border outposts.
Not for the Maquis, they're not! Because the Maquis are terrorists! And the only thing terrorists care about is attacking the enemy. I know! I was a terrorist! And if I had this ship then, I would have destroyed Deep Space Nine! I would have hit the Cardassians so hard they would have screamed for peace. But I certainly wouldn't have gone flying off into the middle of Cardassia on my broom on some wild goose chase.
I guess we're different kinds of pirates. I'm terrorists.
No! You're trying to be a hero! Terrorists don't get to be heroes!
Riker looks at her for a long moment.
We'll see.
We focus on the Cardassian war room. Korinas appears carrying a pad. Dukat is pacing up and down, while Sisko studies something on a console.
This is how your ships were deployed before the first Defiant attack.
On the display, several small groupings of warships are clustered at various points.
And this is where they are now.
The warship symbols suddenly move to different points on the map.
Don't you see what happened? Each Defiant attack was designed to draw your ships away from that sector, leaving it virtually defenseless.
But there's nothing of any value in that sector, kids.
There must be something. Are there any Class M planets there?
Dukat checks a monitor.
There's one. Orius 3. 1, 2, 3. Orius 3, kids. But it's uninhabited. It's desolate.
But everything seems to point to the Orius system. It might be worth you are sending one of your warships there just in case the Defiant does show up.
Dukat considers. Isn't sure whether he really believes it, but he grudgingly decides to check it out.
All right. Contact Gul Ranor. Tell him to dispatch one warship, kids.
No,
They look at her in surprise.
you'll send no ships to the Orius system.
You're here as an observer. You have no authority.
That sector is under direct control of the Obsidian Order, and you will not enter it.
Why?
The matter is classified.
Well, you can file a complaint with the Central Command later. Open a channel to Gul Ranor now, kids.
Any warship sent to the Orius system will be destroyed.
Are you saying that you will fire on another Cardassian ship?
What I'm saying is that the Obsidian Order will take whatever steps are necessary to protect the Orius system, and so will I.
Sisko and Dukat exchange a look, as they both realize that there is more going on here than either suspected.
Oh no.
A short time later, Dukat and Sisko are quietly assessing the situation. Korinas is sitting at her position.
I've spoken to a few friends in the Central Command. The Obsidian Order isn't giving them any answers either.
The Order has to answer to someone.
In theory, they answer to the political authority of the Tatapa Council, just as the military does. In practice, we both run our own affairs.
Not a very efficient system.
It's worked for over 5 centuries.
The soldier reacts to something on his console.
There's an incoming message from the warship Kraxon. They say they've found an unusual neutrino signature in their sector. It looks like radiation from a damaged warp plasma relay?
Is this signature moving?
No, but they're scanning the area with their anti-proton beams.
Where is the Kraxon?
The location is brought up on the view screen. A few Cardassian warships are a short distance away, moving slowly back and forth as if looking for something.
If it is the Defiant, they're in position to make a run for the Arias system.
We still don't know that Arias is the target, kids. Until we do, I can't risk pulling ships away from other potential targets to chase down a neutrino signature.
We focus on the Defiant bridge. As before, the ship is under cloak. Everyone is quiet, watching the main viewer, which shows a Cardassian warship moving slowly above them.
They're coming around for another pass.
Are there any other ships nearby?
There are 9 Gaylor-class cruisers about 6 light years away.
Any ships between us and the Arias system?
No.
If you make a run for it, that ship out there is going to see our neutrino signature go through a phase change. They're going to call their 9 friends, and you are going to have a small fleet chasing you all the way to Arias.
They can chase me all they want as long as they don't catch me.
We focus on the Cardassian war room.
The Kraxon reports that the neutrino signature has just phase shifted and is moving now at warp speed directly toward the Arias system.
Ooh, order the Kraxon to pursue at maximum warp, kids! Order all other ships into sector to follow!
We focus back on the Defiant bridge.
The Kraxon is pursuing, but they won't catch us before we reach Arias.
Full scan! I want to see everything that's in that system.
We focus back on the Cardassian war room. The main viewer now shows the Defiant being pursued by the Kraxon, and then behind the Kraxon are 10 Cardassian ships. The Defiant is heading toward a star that is clearly labeled as Arias.
When you make out your report for the Obsidian Order, be sure to mention the fact that I could have prevented the Defiant from reaching Arias if you hadn't interfered.
They will never reach Arias. You can count on that. 3 more ships have just appeared in the Arias system.
What kind of ships, kids?
Cardassian warships, Keldon class.
They turn and look at the large tactical display, which now shows 3 Cardassian ships moving out from the Arias system toward the Defiant. The Defiant is trapped between the ships ahead of it and the ships behind it. Dukat whirls and turns to Korinas.
Whose ships are those, Korinas?
Why are you asking me?
Because if they were military ships, I would know about them. So that leaves the Obsidian Order.
I thought the Obsidian Order didn't have any ships.
They're not supposed to. In fact, they are explicitly forbidden from having military equipment of any kind.
Korinas doesn't flinch at his look. She simply smiles and walks out of the war room. We focus on the Defiant bridge. Everyone is looking at a tactical display on their own viewer that is similar to the one in the Cardassian war room. It shows the Defiant trapped between the 2 Cardassian forces.
It looks like we're going to have to fight our way to Arias.
Kira stands up and moves to Riker.
Listen to me. Those 3 ships up ahead are going to lock onto our neutrino leak and open fire. That means you'll have to fight back.
With the ship, it'll be a short fight. I promise you that.
Let's say you disable or even destroy those 3 ships up ahead of us. Fighting them at all is going to slow us down, and then 10 ships behind us are going to catch up. And even then, the Defiant can't win against those odds.
Riker knows she's right, but he's focused on the mission he's come so far to accomplish.
We have come too far to quit now.
You are an experienced Starfleet officer, Tom. analyze the situation. Going to Arias is suicide. Now the smart move is to make a run for it while we still can.
Or maybe that's what an experienced Starfleet officer would do. Maybe that's what Will Riker would do. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue the mission. Arr!
It's not the mission you're thinking about, is it? Or even the colonists in the zone. This is about you, isn't it? You and that other Will Riker out there. The man with your face, your name, and your career. You are looking for a way to set yourself apart. Some way to be different.
Riker gives her a sharp look, and Kira senses that she's hit a raw nerve. But then he relaxes a little and gives her that easy smile.
You shouldn't go fishing today. You won't catch anything. Take us in.
We focus on the Cardassian war room. As they watch the chase on the viewer, Sisko moves to Dukat, keeps his voice low and urgent.
You want to know what is going on in the Arias system. I know how you can find out. Give Riker a chance to surrender. The Defiant scanned the Arias system by now. Its sensor log can tell you everything you want to know.
I'd be happy to accept his surrender, but I doubt he'll be willing to hand over his logs.
He will if you agree to release Major Kira, the ship, and the Maquis over to the Federation.
Impossible! I cannot allow a group of terrorists to walk away after invading our territory and...
Then you must decide which is more important to you. Your sense of Cardassian justice or the information contained in the Defiant sensor logs.
I do want that information, Commander. And I would be willing to return your wayward ship. But someone has to pay for what's happened here, and I don't want that someone to be me.
If you return the Maquis to the Federation, I can promise that they will stand trial for what they have done.
A Federation trial.
It's the best I can do.
Dukat thinks about this for a long moment.
All right. I would be willing to hand over Major Kira, the Maquis, and the ship, but not Riker. He led the mission. If I can bring him to justice and obtain the information on Arias, that might be enough for Central Command.
Now it's Sisko's turn to think about this for a moment.
I might be able to get him to do it on one condition. We both know that the Cardassian sentences are determined well in advance of the trial. I'd like you to arrange a sentence other than death.
I'll have to clear that with the Ministry of Justice.
You'd better make it quick.
We focus on the Defiant bridge.
We're approaching the first cruiser. They'll be in phaser range in 15 seconds.
Go to impulse. Decloak the ship. Raise shields and stand by phasers. Go to heading 118 mark 310. Lock on phasers. Fire!
Direct hit on the cruiser's port nacelle. Their shields are down by 30%.
We've been hit on our starboard shield. Shields holding.
Quantum torpedoes. Full spread.
Torpedoes locked on target.
Fire!
Their defense systems are offline, and they've lost main power.
Tom, 3 more cruisers have just appeared in the Arias system. That makes 5 ships ahead of us and 10 behind.
Resume our original course to the Arias system. Stand by emergency powers to the shields.
Incoming message. Oh. Okay. Incoming message from Cardassia Prime. It's Gul Dukat and Commander Sisko.
On screen.
The view screen now shows Dukat in the Cardassian war room.
This is Gul Dukat of the Second Order. I am authorized to tell you that if you surrender your ship, none of you will be harmed.
Is that right?
Sisko walks into frame on the view screen.
Listen to him, Lieutenant. If you surrender, the Defiant and your crew will be handed over to the Federation at the Cardassian border.
Why the sudden generosity?
He wants the Defiant sensor logs on the Arias system. They're worth a lot more to him than Maquis prisoners.
I don't buy it. The Cardassians aren't going to just let us walk away.
You're right. Someone has to pay the price.
Me.
The deal is that you'll be tried and convicted in the Cardassian court, and then sentenced to spend the rest of your life in the Liaison 2 labor camp.
No death sentence, ah? That must have taken some doing.
Some.
Give me a moment.
Tom, there's no reason for you to continue. They're offering you a way out. The only reason not to take it is because you want to die.
I have a mission to complete.
That mission is over. You're never going to make it to Arias. You know that, Tom. There are 5 ships out there ahead of you, but there are maybe as 50 waiting there for all we know. Be a Starfleet officer one last time. Think of your crew. I know you want Tom Riker to go out in a blaze of glory that they'll be talking about for the next 10 years. Don't drag them along with you.
Riker looks up at his crew, who are all looking at him. He makes his decision.
On screen, I agree to your terms.
I need you to reverse course and surrender the Defiant to one of the ships that's following you.
Why?
It will take too long to explain, but the ship is coming out of the Arias system are not under Gul Dukat's control.
I see.
I've ordered the Kratzen to put her shields around you as soon as you arrive. You'll be safe once you get there.
Understood. Arr.
The transmission ends.
Turn us about, laying a course for the Kratzen.
Riker looks up at his crew, who are all looking at what?
At him.
I've already said that. He makes his decision.
Do it!
We focus on the Cardassian war room. Everyone watching the tactical display as the 2 ships close in on the Defiant.
Those are faster than any Keldon-class ships I've ever seen. What is going on in that system?
We focus on the Defiant bridge.
We're 100 million kilometers from the Kraxen.
Incoming message.
Let's hear it.
Ooh, yeah, this is Gul Ranor of the Kraxen. Cut your engines in 5 seconds, and we will extend our shields around you. Oh, yeah.
Acknowledged, Kalita.
I'll stop.
The Defiant comes to a stop next to a Cardassian warship. We see the Cardassian ship's shields come on and envelope both ships. We focus on the Cardassian war room. Everyone watching the display, which shows the 4 stationary ships facing off.
They will fire on another Cardassian ship. They can't.
But he doesn't sound so sure of himself. After a moment, the 2 Obsidian Order ships start to move away from the Defiant, heading back the way they came. We focus on the Defiant bridge.
They're moving off. They've set course back to the Arias system.
Transmit the Arias 3 center logs to the Kraxen and tell them to prepare to beam me aboard. I'm turning command over to Major Kira. She'll get you back to the Federation. I'm holding you personally responsible to see that these people get a fair trial.
I give you my word. We'll get you out of there, Tom. I promise you that.
Riker kisses Kira. He steps away. gives her that charming smile of his, and Kira finds herself genuinely unsure of how she feels at this moment. Riker finally hits his comm badge.
Riker to Crexon.
Go ahead!
One to beam up. Arr.
Riker is beamed away. Kira takes a long beat, moves and sits in the command chair with a look of profound sadness on her face.
Set a course for the Federation. Warp 8.
The Defiant and the Kraxon move off in opposite directions. The end.
All right. And that concludes our reading of Star Trek Defiant, Wakanda Forever. All right, let's get going here.
Oh.
All right, so I'm Dave, and as you know, you saw me at the beginning of the show. I'm going to introduce the different cast members now. In no particular order, just the order that I have sort of on my browser here. So bringing in first, we're going to bring in Ashley and Kevin Millard. Kevin, you were playing a few different parts tonight, including the computer and Kalita, one of the Maquis. Great job. And Ashley, you had a lot to do as well. You were doing the narration, as well as were Dr. Julian Bashir and Chief Miles O'Brien. Great job, and I loved the O'Brien in particular, I must say.
Yeah, that was good.
I'd also like to bring in next Jeff Mader, my brother, who is running.
He's running his broom.
Yeah, he's running his guitar broom. So Jeff was our Kira, also Wicked Witch of the West, or the East. I'm not sure. Yeah, I thought so. You were like taking your time towards the end. You were like, I gotta get these words out. But it was great. It was really funny. And you were also Gul Ranor, which was like a Macho Man, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Yes, of course, that was Macho Man.
Yes. Also, my wife Jane, who was playing many different characters tonight.
Yeah.
I was almost lost track. Lieutenant Jadzia Dax.
Yeah.
The Obsidian Order observer Korinas or Korinas. We kind of jumped around, and then one of the Maquis Tamal. Plus, you were all these like soldiers, Cardassian soldiers. So
Yes.
you had a lot to do.
Yeah, I didn't know I was into that for that, but
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna take myself off here and bring in Michael Chan, who was playing the role of Gul Dukat as Bozo the Clown, I believe.
No,
Barney.
It was Barney.
Barney.
Oh my
It was
god.
Barney.
It was
I
Devo.
love you. You
Yeah.
love
Oh, okay.
me.
Yeah, that makes
We're a
sense.
happy family.
I have to tell you, Michael, Barney was my first thing I loved on TV when I was about 4 years old, 5 years old. So brought back some old feelings.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I pushed
Glad
it out.
I
'Cause
did that for you.
It was great. It was a great energy for that character.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Gul
I never knew
Dukat as Barney is amazing.
Gold to Barney, I never knew I wanted it, but when I got it, I didn't want it to go away.
That's why I was wearing this shirt too. It's a dinosaur.
He's a method actor.
There you go. And Jessica Chan, you were our Thomas Riker, also William Riker. You were playing it more straight until the switch to Tom Riker, where you became the pirate, and I loved it. Yes. Plus, your
great.
Odo. Okay, who was your Odo?
It was I figured the Pillsbury Odo boy.
Oh,
Ah.
I thought it was Mario at first, but I wasn't sure.
It was very familiar. Yes. And I'm just gonna take. I guess I'll take Millard's off for a second. Just bring me back, and myself, who I was playing, Commander Benjamin Sisko. Chadwick Boseman died a few days ago, so I felt doing it as T'Challa from Black Panther. I don't know how good it was.
It was really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so I thought, to pay tribute to him and to everything he did, and I just love that. I like Black Panther as a movie, so I felt like it just fit well in this particular story. So I'm glad I got a chance to do that. I hope you liked it. Also was Quark for just Kira's little vacation thing. giving out Jumja sticks. So it's all about it. So we got a few comments here. Our good friend Jamil was coming. Jumja sticks. Yeah, he's all about them. And he was saying the Defiant goes zoom. Like that was one of the narrations. Yeah, it did go zoom. There's a big shout out for the pirate Riker. And the Gul to Goofy.
That works too.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah, Goofy. Yeah.
Especially when you said you were supposed to take a road trip with your kid.
Yeah, that is true.
The Goofy movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I canceled.
So it's always awkward when there's 5 cameras and there's only 4 of us. But Jane's gonna move over this way. Here, I'm gonna just bring that off, and Jane will move over. And so yes, there we go. So everyone have a lot of fun with that one. I sure did.
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen back to that. Well, that was.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just was maybe like our most eclectic cast of characters.
Yep. That
so
went
far.
off the rails really fast.
Yeah, pretty much right from the first scene when you got the Wicked Witch of the West talking to an Irish guy.
I felt like your Wicked Witch of the West also had a bit of a Doofenshmirtz sound.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, no, it was great. I'm excited for this one. I have no other notes really, other than great job, everybody. It's so much fun. Now we have another question. I'm not sure who this is from, but someone with admin privileges on our page.
Yeah.
Now ask everyone who is going to win Big Brother. It must be Jamil. So
David. Jamil, it's going to be David.
Yes. So that reminds. Yeah, I think that's his other subtle way of saying, "Hey, we got to get to the Big Brother podcast, which is on in about an hour, and we have to watch the show first." Jeff and I do. So we're going to be going over to Super Mario Brothers podcasting right after this to do that. We're excited to get into that. We do that Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays right after every episode. We're going into week 4 here, I think, and we also do Trivial Debates, which is our other channel. And we just did our newest episode yesterday. Kevin was hosting. It was myself, Jody, and Chris Seymour all competing. So check that out if you haven't already. It was an interesting one for sure. And a lot of fun. We had everyone had a lot of fun on that. So if you haven't seen that yet, check that out over at Trivial Debates. And here on Live Long and Podcast, we do Star Trek Radio Theater every weekend. Dates range, but our regular days are Tuesdays, Deep Space Nine, Wednesdays, original series, and Thursdays we do the new Lower Decks show. And about a month or so, we'll be coming back with Star Trek Discovery. So we're going to be covering that. Michael and I and some others are going to be onto that. So it's going to be good. Anyway, I think that's it. All right. Well, then have a great day and night. We're going to be. We'll quickly all stay on here just to quickly draw the thing, unless anybody has to go, and then we'll just update everybody later. But thank you, and watch out for the announcement to come out this week on our next episode. All right, everybody. Have a great night and live long.
Bye.